Oh, every infamous dictator died. Log in.
Adolf Hitler. When Soviet tanks rumbled through the streets of Berlin in late April 1945, Adolf Hitler knew his empire had crumbled. The man who once commanded millions was now trapped underground like a rat. Hitler spent his—
Like, bro, what I gotta say about this, bro, is how do you do all this shit, all this killing, all that, and then whenever it comes to this, you just end it. Like, I don't get it.
Isn't there a theory he escaped from another country?
There's a theory that I'm pretty sure he escaped and got a new identity or some shit, which I don't get, bro. There's people that think he's still alive, which is just the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
You know, it's way too old now, but like it could be. I think it was a decent theory that he escaped like at that time, because I mean he was the most powerful man in his country. So I mean, it wouldn't be too surprising if he escaped for a certain amount of time. You're sure shit dead now.
Oh, he's dead as shit. He's so dead.
Exactly. Zero chance.
His final days in a concrete bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery, surrounded by a shrinking circle of loyalists who watched their Führer deteriorate before their eyes. On April 29th, he married his longtime companion Eva Braun in a bizarre midnight ceremony. The next day, April 30th, 1945, Hitler said his final goodbyes. Around 3:30 in the afternoon, he and Eva retreated to their private quarters. What happened next was confirmed by those who found them. Hitler had bitten into a cyanide capsule and shot himself in the head simultaneously.
I was about to say, I heard he shot himself.
Him, having only consumed the poison. Their bodies were carried up the bunker stairs, doused with gasoline in the Reich Chancellery garden.
This is crazy that this happened.
While Soviet artillery boomed in the distance.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure where they burned his body is like now a random parking lot. Like,
I mean, good shit on there.
Yeah, bro, fuck this dude, bro. That's crazy, bro.
The man
That's exactly what he deserves.
Sent millions to their deaths in camps and battlefields, chose to escape judgment by his own hand, leaving nothing but charred remains and a legacy of horror. He was 56 years old. News of Hitler's death spread across the world, marking the end of the European theater of World War II, and spawning decades of conspiracy theories about whether he really died or somehow escaped. Benito Mussolini. Benito Mussolini spent his final hours running. The Italian dictator who'd once strutted on balconies preaching about a new Roman Empire was now disguised in a German military coat, trying to flee to Switzerland. On April 27, 1945, communist partisans stopped a German convoy at a checkpoint near Lake Como. Among the soldiers, they found Il Duce himself, the great fascist leader hiding like a common criminal. Mussolini and his mistress, Clara Petacci, were pulled from the convoy and held overnight. The next day, April 28th, a partisan leader named Walter Audisio arrived with orders to execute them. Accounts vary on the exact details, but what's certain is this. Mussolini and Petacci were taken to a villa gate in the small village of Giulino di Mezzegra and shot with a submachine gun. The partisans loaded the bodies into a van and drove them to Milan, to a place called Piazzale Loreto. This wasn't random. Months earlier, Mussolini's regime had executed 15 partisans and left their bodies on display at that exact location. Now it was his turn. When the truck arrived at dawn on April 29th, Mussolini, Petacci, and several other executed fascist officials were dumped on the ground. A crowd gathered quickly, and things got ugly fast. People kicked the corpses, spat on them, fired at them again. One woman reportedly fired 5 more times into Mussolini's body, once for each of her dead sons. Then came the finale. The bodies were hung upside down from the—
Oh!
God damn.
Holy shit, is that real?
I have no idea. Would that be like...
Yo, I don't even know if I'm allowed to show that.
Roof of a gas station.
I mean, it's in black and white. It's not like colored. I have no idea. I have no idea.
No, I'll keep it. I mean, this video didn't get taken down, so...
The crowd went wild,
I'll risk it.
Cheering and celebrating beneath the corpses. News of Mussolini's brutal death flashed across the world, signaling the definitive collapse of fascist Italy and marking a symbolic turning point in the final unraveling of World War II. Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-il ruled North Korea for 17 years with an iron grip.
Bro,
actually resembles him.
Didn't his Kim Jong-un, his son, the fat dude that's running it now, didn't he like kill his brother or some crazy shit?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he like made him think he was doing somebody was doing a prank and then like put acid on his face or some shit. I was like, why are you so white?
Some crazy shit.
I'm looking on the YouTube video and your thing is just like.
It's because like I don't know. It's because my monitor is pretty bright and it's just like light. It's just white light. Yeah, this is fucking crazy. I don't know how he died.
It really is.
Maintaining one of the most isolated and oppressive regimes on Earth, he cultivated a personality cult so extreme that state propaganda claimed he could control the weather and didn't need to use the bathroom. But in December 2011, the man who'd been portrayed as nearly superhuman died from something.
This is a dumbass.
Yeah, bro. You can't shit, bro. You're a god, bro. Yeah. People believe that too, which is like the dumbest shit ever.
And they kind of have to. If they don't believe it, then they get like killed. So.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
a heart attack.
If they try
On
to spread
December
that they
7th,
don't think that way, they just get killed. So they have no choice.
Yeah.
portrayed as nearly superhuman, died from something decidedly human, a heart attack. On December 17, 2011, Kim Jong-il was traveling by train through North Korea when he suffered a massive heart attack, reportedly brought on by physical and mental stress. He was 69 years old. North Korean state media didn't announce his death until 2
He
days
just had a
later,
heart attack?
on December 19th, claiming he died at 8:30 a.m. on his train while on a field guidance
Damn.
tour. The announcement described him passing during a great mental and physical strain while dedicating himself to the nation. Official reports said he'd been suffering from diabetes and heart disease for years, though the regime had hidden this from the public. When the news finally broke, North Korean television
They
showed
eat
anchor
so
Ri
much
Chun-hee
stuff.
dressed.
Have you heard about that?
What do you say?
Like Kim Jong Un and all them, they eat like so much food. They have entire
Yeah,
feasts,
no
like, every
shit.
single
Have
day.
you seen them?
Well, I mean that's true, but like they eat so much shit that they're gonna die early because of like a heart attack or something. They eat so much shit. Like and their entire country is like starving. North Korea is just starving to death, just barely making it, and he's just over there eating entire feasts every single day. The most like expensive food you can possibly get.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Isn't like
He really is.
it doesn't like a lot of the money go to like that we give North Korea or whatever? Doesn't that like just go to like straight alcohol for him or whatever?
I'm sure it does.
I'm pretty sure there's something like that, which is insane too. While everyone's just starving and shit. So
I'm sure he'll just die early from it. So
I mean,
the ups and downs too.
probably.
in black, weeping as she announced the dear leader's passing. State media broadcast footage of citizens collapsing in theatrical grief, wailing in the streets and bowing before his portraits.
Hey, it's not
Whether
that
the grief
serious.
was genuine or performed out of fear,
Oh,
the
fuck,
spectacle was surreal. Kim Jong-il's body was embalmed and placed on display in a glass coffin at the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun in
That's pretty fucking weird.
Didn't they claim he wasn't dead or something? I swear they did.
I have no idea.
Like, I remember hearing something about how like they don't think he's dead. They think he's just like sleeping or like in a coma or something. I have no idea. Some crazy shit. I think he's a god.
lying
so
in
I'm pretty
state
sure he wouldn't think
alongside
he's
his
actually
father,
dead.
Kim Il-sung. Unlike many dictators who met violent ends, Kim Jong-il died of natural causes, never facing justice for the starvation, imprisonment, and execution of countless North Koreans. He passed power seamlessly to his son, Kim Jong-un, ensuring the dynasty continued.
Yeah, he just looks
Joseph
weird.
Stalin. Joseph Stalin ruled through
He
terror
does.
for nearly 3 decades.
I think I know this
but
one.
in the end, that same terror might have killed him. On the night of March
I
1st,
don't think I do.
1953, Stalin hosted one of his infamous late-night dinners at his dacha near Moscow.
Never
He
mind.
drank heavily with his inner circle of Soviet officials, the same men who lived in constant fear of purges and midnight arrests. Around 4 a.m., Stalin dismissed everyone and retired to his private quarters. Then something happened. Hours passed. Stalin always summoned his guards and staff by mid-morning, but March 2nd came and went with silence from his room. Here's where it gets darkest. His guards and household staff knew something was wrong, but they were absolutely terrified to enter without being called. Stalin had cultivated such a climate of fear that his own people were too scared to check if he was alive. By the time someone finally worked up the courage to peek inside that evening, they found the 74-year-old dictator lying on the floor in a puddle of his own urine, partially paralyzed from a massive stroke. He'd been there for nearly 12 hours. Medical help was summoned, but the delay had done its damage. Stalin lingered for days, unable to speak, his face contorted, slowly dying while doctors tried desperately to save him. Some historians believe his guards delayed on purpose. Others think his own officials might have poisoned him or withheld help intentionally. On March 5th,
Yeah, it could literally be all three, bro, if I'm being honest. It could just be all three.
I know. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising. I mean, he kind of deserved it, so who gives a fuck? Like,
Yeah.
he's a piece of shit.
1953, at 9:50 p.m., Stalin finally died. The announcement triggered mass public mourning across the Soviet Union, but privately, many breathed sighs of relief as his reign came to an end. Rafael Trujillo ruled the Dominican Republic like his personal
Yeah, I don't know
king
these
for
people.
31 brutal
Oh,
years,
yeah.
ordering assassinations, tortures, and disappearances with casual cruelty. But on the night of May 30th, 1961, the hunter became the hunted. Trujillo was being driven on a highway outside Santo Domingo when several cars suddenly blocked his route. A group of Dominican conspirators, many of them military officers who'd once served under him, emerged with weapons. They'd been planning this for months, with quiet support from the CIA, who wanted Trujillo gone. The 69-year-old dictator's car was riddled with bullets. Some accounts say Trujillo
Holy
tried to
shit.
fight back, pulling out his own pistol and firing at his attackers before being shot multiple times. Within minutes, El Jefe, the chief, was dead on the side of the road, his body torn apart by gunfire. The conspirators
shit.
loaded his corpse into one of their cars and drove
God
away,
damn.
unsure what to do next.
They nagged him.
Trujillo's body ended up stored in the trunk of a car for hours while the assassins debated their next move. Eventually, his remains were recovered by loyalist forces. What followed was chaos. Some conspirators were caught and executed, others fled, and the country descended into political turmoil. For a ruler so brutal, Trujillo's end was fittingly the same. Nicolae Ceausescu.
Hell is
Nicolae and
this?
Elena Ceausescu spent Christmas Day
I have no fucking idea.
1989
I've never
facing
even
a
heard these
firing
names
squad,
before.
and the whole thing was captured on video. After ruling Romania with an iron fist for over 2 decades, the Ceausescus watched their power evaporate during the country's anti-communist revolution. On December 22nd, they attempted to flee Bucharest by helicopter as protests overwhelmed the capital.
Holy
They were
shit.
captured within hours. 3 days later, on Christmas Day, they stood trial in a small room at a military base in Targovist. The trial was a rushed affair, lasting barely an hour, with charges of genocide and embezzlement, among others. The elderly couple appeared confused and defiant, with Elena repeatedly protesting that the proceedings were illegal. The verdict was never in doubt. Guilty, death sentence. Minutes after the trial concluded, Nicolae and Elena were led
they wanted them
outside to a
dead
courtyard
quick.
wall, soldiers lined up. The couple was given no
Oh,
chance
no.
to say goodbye or make final statements beyond
firing
their
squad.
protests during the trial. The firing squad opened fire, and both Ceausescus dropped dead almost instantly, their bodies riddled with over 100 bullets. The execution was
damn.
filmed, and that evening, Romanian television broadcast the news, along with footage
Shit.
proving they were dead. The footage spread internationally, shocking viewers who watched a longtime communist
Holy
leader
shit.
go from
This is-
power to execution.
That's fucking insane.
I mean, to be fair though, all these people are like corrupt. So I mean, they're kind of just getting what they deserve. But like, holy shit, it's crazy they used to have firing squad. Like now they just have like in the electric chair. Now they just have it where they give you like a pill and you die. They had fucking electric chair where it just shocks your brain to your dead. That fucking firing squad that just keeps shooting you until you die. Like that shit's kind of crazy.
It is. I mean, like, it's deserved. I mean, it's for fucking horrible people. That it is still crazy. They're also just
Exactly.
showing it on live television. Did you see that shit where I don't know if it was North Korea or it was somewhere? I think it might have just been North Korea, maybe South Korea, where a bunch of teenagers got executed, like on news or some shit, because they watched Squid Games.
What
You
the
see that
fuck?
shit? That dead ass happened. I saw that shit like months
Nah, I
ago.
didn't see that.
They got executed for watching Squid Game.
Yo, and it's crazy that people can still be like that, like nowadays. Like in North Korea is like the one of a kind. No other, like no other country can really be like North Korea, especially since they're powerful, but really small compared to everything else. So it's crazy he has that much power to where he can do this kind of crazy shit still. Also, I forgot earlier about naming things that they execute with. They also had the guillotine, which is
Yeah.
actually brutal, or like public hangings.
That was
Like
like
that shit was just
the
brutal.
earliest forms of execution.
I know. I mean, honestly, I would still say guillotine's better than firing squad, though. If I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, because it's pretty quick. Firing squad's pretty quick too, but it's like they could like maybe not hit your head for like a couple seconds.
Yeah, you'd be in horrible pain if they miss. Like they start shooting in the arms and legs and shit. Like that would be horrible. Be traumatized. Well, I mean, more than traumatized, like you're dead. But like,
Yeah, oh yeah, you're
Fucking-
more than dead. You're dead as shit.
yeah, it'd be horrible. That'd be gruesome.
In just 3 days. Pol Pot, the architect of Cambodia's genocide that killed up to 2 million people, died
Holy
quietly
shit.
in a jungle hut in 1998.
Pol Pot?
After the Khmer Rouge regime fell in 1979, Pol Pot fled into the jungle near the Thai border where he lived as a fugitive for nearly 2 decades.
God
By
damn.
1998, he was 73 years old, under house arrest by a splinter faction of his own former movement. On April 15, 1998, Pol Pot died in his sleep, reportedly from heart failure. The timing was suspicious. Just days earlier, remaining Khmer Rouge leaders had agreed to hand him over for an international war crimes trial. Instead, he escaped justice by dying in a bamboo hut. The Khmer Rouge, knowing how skeptical the world would be, did something macabre. They displayed Pol Pot's corpse to journalists, inviting them to photograph the body to prove he was really dead. Images of his lifeless body appeared in news.
Oh, like, am I the one
That's
that's finding this a
crazy.
little absurd?
Yeah, I know. Like normally nowadays, you wouldn't just see a dead body plastered all over the news and shit. Like maybe to an extent, but like not just straight up the exact way he was left. Like it is fucking insane.
Inviting them to photograph the body to prove he was really dead. Images of his
That's something.
I know.
lifeless body
So
appeared in
quick heads
newspapers
up. I think it's
globally.
low-key glitching
There would
a
be
little
no
bit.
trial, no accountability, no chance for victims to face him in court. The butcher of Cambodia had literally died in his sleep and avoided answering for millions of deaths. His body was cremated on a makeshift pyre of tires and trash.
That looks like
A
shit.
pathetic end for a man who'd orchestrated industrial-scale murder. Saddam Hussein.
That's what he
Saddam
deserves.
Hussein's
Getting burned with
execution on
tires.
December 30th, 2006, was supposed to be a solemn, controlled event. It wasn't. After the US-led invasion of Iraq and a lengthy trial for crimes against humanity, Saddam was sentenced
I was thinking about where I know this dude from. This dude's in South Park. He is in love with the devil. They're in a relationship in like early South Park. Forgot about that.
You definitely have heard the name before. I
Yeah,
don't remember,
was
but
thinking,
definitely.
Yeah.
to death by hanging. At dawn on that December morning, the 69-year-old former dictator was led into an execution chamber at an Iraqi military base in Baghdad. Official protocol was supposed to keep things dignified, but someone in the room had a cell phone. As Saddam stood on the gallows with a noose around his neck, guards began taunting him, shouting sectarian insults. Saddam responded with defiance, reciting prayers until the trapdoor opened and he dropped. The whole thing was captured on a grainy cell phone video that leaked online almost immediately. Saddam, dressed in a black coat, remained composed even as the insults flew.
All this shit is just on the internet.
It was over quickly. His body was later returned to his family and buried in his hometown of Tikrit. The execution sparked massive controversy. Some viewed it as justice served. Others condemned the disrespectful treatment of a man facing death, regardless of his crimes. Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi ruled Libya for 42 years with a bizarre mix of brutality and eccentricity. On October 20th, 2011, he died begging for mercy in a drainage pipe, and the whole thing was filmed on cell phones. During Libya's civil war, Gaddafi fled Tripoli as rebel forces closed in. He made it to his hometown of Sirte, where he held out for weeks before NATO airstrikes destroyed his convoy. Gaddafi escaped the wreckage and hid in a concrete drainage pipe with a few remaining bodyguards. When rebels found him, they dragged the 69-year-old dictator out into the open. Multiple cell phone videos captured what happened next. A bloody, disoriented Gaddafi, his face swollen and his clothes torn, being manhandled by jubilant fighters.
In
one video, he's heard pleading, asking what he did wrong. Rebels shouted victoriously, some struck him, and chaos reigned. What exactly happened in those final minutes remains disputed, but Gaddafi was shot, reportedly in the head, and died shortly after his capture. His body was later displayed in Misrata, where locals lined up to see the corpse of their former dictator, lying in a commercial freezer.
Yeah.
Yo, this is, that's actually insane.
Yeah, I know. This is surprising to allow this on YouTube. This does not, it's just actual dead body.
Lee, what an insane, what an insane. So this video isn't even age restricted.
What the fuck? How is this allowed? Maybe it's in black and white.
Caught like a rat.
That's crazy. Yo, let me double check. All right, Rashawn. Holy. What a way to go out, though. Holy.
I know.
In a drain,
They're also
became
like
headlines. His body was eventually buried in an unmarked grave in the desert. Location undisclosed. Augusto Pinochet. Augusto Pinochet ruled Chile for 17 years after seizing power in a bloody 1973 coup that overthrew the democratically elected government of Salvador Allende. During his dictatorship, thousands of Chileans were tortured, killed, or disappeared. But unlike many dictators, Pinochet didn't die violently or in exile. He died in a hospital bed, old and comfortable, never fully answering for his crimes. By 2006, the 91-year-old former dictator had been battling health problems for years. He'd suffered multiple heart attacks and strokes, and his body was finally giving out. On December 3rd, 2006, Pinochet suffered a massive heart attack and was rushed to Santiago's military hospital. Doctors performed emergency surgery, but complications set in quickly. Over the next week, his condition deteriorated. He suffered additional heart attacks and developed pulmonary edema, his lungs filling with fluid. On December 10th, 2006, exactly 1 week after his initial heart attack, and on International Human Rights Day, Augusto Pinochet died surrounded by family members. He was 91 years old. When news of his death reached the streets of Santiago, the reaction was split. Some Chileans celebrated, gathering in the streets to cheer and wave flags, relieved that the dictator was finally gone. Others mourned, viewing him as the man who'd saved Chile from communism and brought economic stability. Here's what made Pinochet's death particularly frustrating for those seeking justice. He'd spent his final years fighting extradition and prosecution. He'd been arrested in London in 1998 on Spanish warrants for human rights violations, but was eventually released on medical grounds and returned to Chile. Back home, he faced multiple indictments for human rights abuses, tax evasion, and embezzlement, but his lawyers repeatedly argued he was too sick and senile to stand trial. The cases dragged on for years, and Pinochet never spent a day in prison for the atrocities committed under his rule. His funeral was a private military affair, and he was cremated shortly after. Pinochet's ashes were divided among family members, with some reportedly scattered in the ocean. If you enjoyed this video,
make sure to go like, subscribe to this dude. Like, did they deserve it? Yeah, 100%. Without a doubt, they deserve it. 100%. Some of them were just boring, like just heart attacks. Others were like pretty brutal. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're expecting like all the brutal ones, but it does make sense he added like the heart attack ones. Because not all of them are going to be like some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of heart attacks though. Like 3 of just heart attacks. A good video though.
You want to give yourself a shout out?
Make sure to like, subscribe, all that. Subscribe to Jax_him. Subscribe to Labrat_1000. You know, we're both making daily videos every single day. And make sure you subscribe to me. And yeah, hope you enjoy the video.
He pretty much said it all himself. So yeah, that's pretty much it.